The Colorado Avalanche interested in the other Toews? Let's talk about that on a new episode of Locked On Avalanche.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me today, if you're watching over on YouTube and that opening segment came up and you were like, who is, that's not Kyle. It is not Kyle. Kyle's under the weather today. So called an audible, brought in the bullpen, whatever, brought in the e-bug, whatever you want to say. Mr. Zach Pearson. Huh?
I said I'll go e-bug because bullpen doesn't do well in Colorado right now.
Oh, well said. Sick burn. That is the voice of Zach Pearson, everybody, who has been on the episode been on episodes a couple times in the past, hosts the Mile High Bourbon and Rye podcast. So Kyle was out, and I said, well, the stuff we're talking about today, I kind of want to bounce off somebody. So at a moment's notice, I hit up Zach, said, you want to do this? And he said, absolutely. So thank you for filling in today, sir. Much appreciated.
100%. Always happy to jump on and talk Avs.
Love it. Even though it's the off season and they haven't played in over a month, he's still
he's still cool enough stuff going on.
Exactly. So, and we'll get to the Olympic rosters. 6 guys each have been announced. I'll bring that up. We'll get to that in a little bit. We have the season grade for Keaton Middleton to get to. But where we're going to start is how we open the show. We're in the middle of June, so July 1 is right around the corner. And really for the whole month of June, you get a lot of these rumors and possibilities. One that's getting some legs is, I said, the other Toews. Right now, like being seasoned like Avalanche fans, when you hear just the name Toews, you go straight to Devon Toews.
100%.
Understandably. Yes, right. You're hearing just some grumblings now of Jonathan Toews, who has said he is 100% committed to making a comeback. And we'll talk about why he's been out and all that stuff. And you're hearing the teams in the market for him are Winnipeg and the Colorado Avalanche. Let's just start right there, Zach. Wait, do you buy this? Do you think it's a possibility? Where are we going from here with Jonathan Toews?
So when I heard that Winnipeg and Colorado are the most likely spots, was the last thing I think I saw over on Twitter X today, was those are the 2 teams that are the most likely. Gut reaction right away is the guy hasn't stepped on the ice in 3 years. And then you remember that our captain came back after not stepping on the ice for 3 years. And I'm like, exactly. Well, it's definitely doable.
Right.
And I mean, that guy, he's got such a phenomenal career behind him already. I mean, 3 Stanley Cups with the Chicago Blackhawks. You take an original 6 team as their captain to 3 Stanley Cup championships. You already have a lot of that experience. I think if the Avs can find a way to bring him on and make him a 3rd, 4th line center, get him to be that depth, really the role that I'm envisioning, and I think I saw this somewhere, and I don't remember who said it originally, but that sparked it, is a Cogliano. Have that depth guy that is a veteran leader presence, and Cogs was integral to that cup run in 22. I think Toews could really push a lot of the team further in a really good way.
You get another veteran presence in there for sure. Even though he's been out as long as he's been out, I don't think you lose that side of things. You know, he was a captain for that team for years. I think when he was one of the younger captains in the league, when he was named captain of the Chicago Blackhawks, right? So
he was 20.
Was he 20 years old? Yeah.
Yep.
So he's got the pedigree. You know, he's got all the awards. Like, he's coming back just because he flat out loves the sport of hockey, and he doesn't want to end his career the way that he's missed these last 3 years.
Yeah.
When it comes to the Avs, like, sure, I genuinely think there's some interest here from them, and they've done this before with guys who are kind of like in the latter stage of his career. Toews is 37 now, I believe.
Yeah, that's
if you want to look that up, sure. I'm pretty sure it's 37. But they've done this where they go after kind of name guys, like kind of in the latter stages of their career. Jerome McGinley comes to mind.
Yep.
They brought him in later on in his career. Parise they just brought in, right?
Yeah, we brought him in last
year,
last season. Yeah, for just the tail end of the season.
Even like, I think he was a little bit younger, maybe like 33, 34, but like Carl Soderberg was another one that they brought in. So they do this, right? And I think a lot of teams will do this, of bringing in veteran guys that are just know how to win and just want to continue to win. So I think for that aspect, the interest is probably mutual. Where he slots in is the interesting part here, because once the Avalanche signed Nelson, you were like, oh, we're good up the middle now. You got your 4 guys, you're set. So and that's his position. Like, he is a center.
Yeah.
Does he move to a wing? Like, and sometimes they do that when they get in the twilight of their career and they can't run that center position. Like, might he, or could he just be that utility guy? Like, wherever you need me, I will slot into there. Is that a possibility?
I could see him being that way. I mean, I think it kind of depends on what he's really feeling for, like, to come back and do the rest of his career. He'd have an opportunity, obviously, on a championship contender coming into the Avalanche. If you pop into either Winnipeg or Colorado, you're automatically on that contender level of team. Obviously, the game, like you said, is what's most important to him. He wants to be out there. He wants to play hockey because he just loves it. So I could absolutely see him kind of adapting to a different role potentially. If it's, like, if it's a good enough fit with the rest of the team as well. I think that's kind of the piece that it would be. And I don't see a reason why he wouldn't fit in and play well alongside our bottom 6 guys. So,
yeah. And salary wise, it's not going to cost you anything.
It shouldn't. Nope.
It should not cost you. Like, you are looking at a league minimum contract here. A guy who's, even though Toews has accomplished what he's accomplished, like, he's not going to come in and be like, I want $5-6 million. Like, nope. This is going to be a league minimum incentive laden contract.
Yeah.
So I think that's another good reason why it might work out. Like, in terms of like bringing him in, will it work out on the ice? We'll have to see that if it does come around to that, obviously, because sometimes it doesn't. Like, you look at the Thomas Tatar one.
Yeah. Just
didn't
wasn't
feel like it
fit.
didn't work.
Yeah.
Ryan Johansson.
Yeah, that was that did not work.
Well documented. So, I mean, these are things where it's like, you try, if they feel like, he is a fit and, the money's not going to be the issue. Say that, and as with the cap space that they have, it could be an issue. But I think he's, wanting to get on a team like this, see what he can do after 3 years. Why not?
Yeah. Well, and I think Colorado becomes an even better prospect for a player like Toews, because you've got, again, that championship contention, but the Avs really looks like they figured out their goaltending room. It looks like they figured out the center depth, at least for the top 2 lines. So you've got, and honestly, through all 4 lines, you should be set. So you're in a position where, like you said, you can slot in and be that utility guy, and there's no reason that shouldn't work out on paper. So
on paper, yep. He's been out, for people that maybe don't follow what's going on outside of the Avalanche world. He's been out for 3 years just because of a number of issues, it seems like, that he's dealt with his whole career.
Yeah.
There's a really good GQ article if anybody wants to go through it. It's pretty long. It's like a question and answer thing, of him, he touches a little bit on early in his career, like stomach issues that he had and things like that. But COVID really kind of like knocked him out. He was one of those guys that had the long COVID, as they call it, and just really just messed with his body, on top of other things. And he decided to go to India for some like Aaron Rodgers type of stuff, like, and it seems to have worked anyway. And it's a really good read, because he goes into kind of like some detail on the things that he was doing over there, and scared me a little bit, I have to say, Zach, from listening to some, because it just seems like they just suck out all of the junk
Yeah.
that, and in the American diet, it's a lot of junk,
Yes, there
right?
is.
So it seems like, he goes through all of this stuff of just pulling all of this junk out of you. He was throwing up like daily, drinking things that would just make him vomit daily. I love on the GQ article, the sub headline is after a litany of health issues forced him to step away from his career, the former Chicago Blackhawks captain underwent a 5-week, I think it's pronounced Ayurvedic detox, enduring induced vomiting and daily enemas.
Yeah.
Give this guy a contract. If you're doing
Right.
daily vomiting and daily enemas, you get a contract, in my opinion.
That is dedication
Oh,
to the sport. So 100%. Like at the
So-
very least, effort is there.
So he is getting that award next year. The dedication to
Yeah.
the yes. I think it's the Clancy, the King Clancy Award, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the one.
Yeah.
You can't question his heart after being out for 3 years and going through it. It's a really good article. Just Google Jonathan Toews GQ article. It'll come up. It's a free read. And some of the stuff that he went through over there, you're like, wow. Yeah, you're gonna give it a shot. But we don't know. Like, will his body hold up? He said he
Yeah.
feels good right now, but that is the big question. Will it hold up? You think it can?
One of the things that stood out to me in the article is he's saying like a couple of times he thought it was just like normal stuff, and then he started paying attention to his diet and paying attention to what he's putting into his body. He said that made him feel better for a while, but then the grind of an NHL season just put him back into the same kind of issues. It's that burn the candle at both ends, and it's just takes its toll. So I mean, I really hope it did work for him. Whether he comes back to the Avs or another team, I hope that he can make it through a whole season, because I think it'd be excellent for him. It'd be a great story for.
What do you think he wants to do for like a term for this? Do you think he just wants to come back for like one season just to prove that he can, and then like that's it, or does he want to play another 3 seasons till he hits 40 years old? What do you think?
I would think he probably wants to play the 3 seasons, and I would venture a guess that he would happily sign like a 3-year term. I also think that after being off the ice for 3 years and not like around practice facilities as much or doing any of that stuff, I think he'll probably settle for like a 1-year prove
I
it
think so.
deal. I think that's just the way that's going to have to go.
Yeah.
And then, like halfway through the season, or maybe, at some point before it's up, get him a 2-year extension, whatever team signs him. I imagine he'd try to negotiate something like that, but
Yeah.
I think he'll go in for a 1-year prove it deal.
Yeah, I can't imagine he would do a 3-year deal for the league minimum. So he'll probably have to settle for the 1-year league minimum, see what he can do, and then maybe sign another 1 or 2-year deal that gets him a few $1 million.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't think he's made a ton of money throughout his career. I think this is more of proving that he can do this.
Yep.
I want to go to a good team. So, because everybody wants to try to win the cup when they're at the age that he's at. And for him, again, winning it again.
Yep.
So I think there's, I can understand the reasons why he wants to, right?
Yeah.
I think he's got to find the right fit. Could that be with the Avalanche? We'll see.
Only time will tell.
Yeah. And it's the last question I'll ask is, do you think he's the guy that signs on July 1st? Or do you think, because it's not going to cost a lot of money, it's not something that like some teams are like, we're completely out of money. I don't know. I don't see this going like weeks. I think he could be a guy that signs on day 1 or day 2 of free agency.
I think it could be the first couple of days. I think the big thing that'll boil down to is kind of if there are 2 teams in the mix, or maybe a third that's not necessarily reported, I could see him weighing a couple of options once offers are officially there. But I agree. This doesn't seem like it's going to be a dragged out,
right?
To go again with the Aaron Rodgers. He's not going to go do that retreat and then drag out all of the decision making.
Right.
I think it's going to be a pretty quick one as well. I
agree. All right. So fire away in the comment section. Think it's a good idea, bad idea. Want to hear about it. So, all right, let's move on. We're going to get our first break in here, and then we come back. We have a season grade to get to, and that is for Keaton Middleton. We'll do that next. All right, let's hear from Monarch Money. Have you ever checked your bank account and wonder where did all my money go? I don't. I know Zach doesn't wonder where his money goes.
I know where my money goes.
I
Yep.
think we all know where Zach's money goes. Between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, bourbon, it's easy to lose track. And that's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off of your first year. That is monarchmoney.com. The code is LOCKEDONNHL, and you get half off of your entire first year. Go check out Monarch Money today. All right, let's get to a season grade for Keaton Middleton. I don't have a graphic for anybody today, so apologies for that if you're watching over on YouTube. But Kyle and I agreed on this one. Kyle gave him a C+, which I gave him a C+ as well. And I was going to go just straight solid C, but I gave him an extra half a grade for the simple fact that he's a likable guy. Yeah. And I don't do that for many guys. I didn't do it for Josh Manson, and I like Josh Manson, but for some reason, Keaton Middleton is just seems like he is enjoying his time that he is getting, at least last year, with the Avs. Maybe played a lot more than he anticipated, and just seemed like he gave the team all he could for, kind of just being like kind of thrown to the wolves a little bit. And I thought he did okay. I think this was a good, real first year for him to kind of get acclimated. And then we'll talk about what we think is going to happen for the future for him. But I'm going C+ for Keaton Middleton. What do you got?
I went with a straight C.
Okay.
And actually, so my gut from watching it and just instant reaction was, I remember a handful of games where it was like, okay, Keaton Middleton, I didn't like that game. I remember visually not appreciating his game.
Yeah.
And you look at his numbers and the basic metrics, very few points, but he's not a point scoring guy. But that's one thing that jumps out. He had, was it 3 points?
I think he had
2 points in
2
assists.
Games.
Yep, 2 assists in 41 games. And it's just nothing really jumped off. And so my gut, actually, I was going to go with a D.
Oh.
But then I started looking, I actually was like, I'm going to think about this and I want to look in some stats because I don't want to go just eye test. And you pull up some of his more advanced metrics, is Corsi for, Corsi against. It's like a 50.5 Corsi for percentage. So when he's on the ice, it's about halftime 50-50 in each zone. Yeah. Fenwick, same thing. His PDO looked, also pretty solid. So pulling all of those up, he looks like he's a better player on paper than he's visually to watch, which to me is great, because if you're doing those things right and you've got those underlying metrics, you're probably going to at least be a solid depth player for your whole career. Exactly. And I think that's what he's shaping up to be. So solid C.
Yeah. If those are his, especially for things like Corsi and things like that, for the position he plays.
Yeah.
As long as it's not, 60-40.
Yep.
Not in his favor.
Yeah.
You want guys like that to be 50-50, because it means that they're just doing what they're supposed to do while they're out there. If you get, something in excess for guys in his position, depth guys, that's just bonus.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's not, he is not out there to wow you on the stat sheet when it comes to points and stuff like that.
Nope.
He wants to lay hits. He'll get into some fights. He'll get into some scrums. It doesn't mean that he's not afraid to take a shot. He's a big guy. He should have a heavy shot, and he does. Didn't he have a goal taken away?
I feel like he did have.
If I'm not mistaken,
back.
There he had a goal scored, and there was a challenge, and it was in offsides or something like that. And I can't remember who it was. I'm almost positive it was him, but even if he had gotten that goal.
Yeah.
Whatever, then you got 3 points on the season. Good. Right. Congratulations.
Yep.
But you've gone you just look at his career stats. And in this past year, 41 games, and the last time he played NHL games was in 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
So like he's not accustomed and he's not fully adapted to the NHL level yet. And I thought he held his own for 41 games this year. And when they needed him, like you can tell Jared Bednar likes him.
Yeah.
You can tell that he likes him, and you're getting, Kyle and I have talked about this. You're getting this vibe that the Avalanche are kind of trending in the direction of understanding that they need more defensemen like him.
Yeah.
They're not going to fully go to that side because they want their defensemen engaged. They want them to, be offensive minded. So they're not going to just load up with Keaton Middletons.
Right.
But it's no longer going to be just Josh Manson. You're our only guy. Go for it.
Yeah.
It's going to be Manson. And this is where I think Middleton, I think he gets even more. I think he's slotting himself in as an everyday player for next year. I think he's going to get more than 41 games next year.
I think Middleton's got a real good argument for that too, especially because, and I think it was you guys that were saying this on the one of the former episodes like a couple days ago, but Josh Manson is like, when he's having a good game, he is having a good game.
Yes. Yeah.
But then when he has a bad game, you really have to dig in and endure that bad game. And so I think a Keaton Middleton who's a little more level, he may not have that ceiling like a Josh Manson might have.
Mm-hmm.
And he's never going to have that offensive production that, our top pairing defenseman will have. To be fair, nobody in the NHL will have Cale Makar level production. But
No. Right.
he's doing things the right way. And like you said, I do think you get that vibe that Bednar really likes him on the ice. And a lot of credit to Bednar, because as much as I like, and that's why I'm not a coach, I wouldn't have deployed him in the same times in the same ways. And Bednar really had a good feel on when to get him out there. I think that helped him be successful as well. And the organization's putting that into Keaton Middleton, it looks like.
Does he not remind you a little bit of like Ryan Graves?
I could see that a little bit.
Yep. He's not, and I think he's faster than Ryan Graves. Yeah. And that's where Graves struggled with the Avs. And he had a really good first year with the Avs. That plus minus he had the first year with the Avs was massive, and that was great.
Yeah.
Followed it up, struggling a little bit, and eventually found his way out of Colorado. But I think Middleton has a little bit more speed than Graves did. But he's a big guy. He can lay the lumber. So I feel like, and they liked him. They liked Ryan Graves.
Yeah.
And I feel like they want to maybe get back to something like that. I think he could take that spot. We've just seen the tip of the iceberg for Keaton Middleton.
Yeah.
41 games and you're okay with what he did.
Right.
Put him out there. Yeah. Put him out there next year and see if you can just improve on it. He's got to do that. He's got to improve on it. Because if he doesn't, then Loveland's waiting.
Yeah.
But I'd give him a shot.
No, I definitely think he's going to be able to prove himself as a bottom pairing for sure, but a very solid, consistent option. And I think like if the Avs decide to roll 7D in any game, he could easily be that seventh D man as well. And it would work nicely because, like you said, the other thing I think I like about his game, going back and looking at it too, is he is the physical, but he's also not afraid to play the puck. He's not just trying to be big guy, goon it up type of situation. Yeah. He still wants to fit in with, I think, the rest of the Avs scheme, but add that large presence. So yeah. I think that all works very well.
Yeah, he's not just see guy, hit guy.
Yeah.
And for his time on ice, he was 11 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yep.
I know defensemen get a little bit more minutes, even for your depth guys, but because there's only 6 of them. But I think that's significant. I think the cards are there for him to get more of a role next year. And I really hope he can do something with it. And I think he can.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right. One more thing we're going to get to, and that is these Olympic rosters. Some of them were announced, and Avalanche so far well represented. So we'll talk about that next. All right, so the IIHF started announcing 6 players per country at like 5 in the morning over on social media, and they kind of took the idea. I think this was the idea from the Four Nations when they announced just like 6 guys.
Yeah.
Is right? Am I right in that? Like this has not been an ongoing thing, right? I
No.
think the first time I've seen this is in the Six Nations, the Four Nations, when they just announced just 6 guys, and we'll announce the rest of the roster later.
Yeah, I definitely feel like the Four Nations was the first time I saw that.
Yeah,
But I also do think that it got a lot of people's attention. Like, okay, I really want to be watching for the rest of the roster. And yeah, I mean, it's all about that engaging people. So I would have liked to have seen more people
yeah.
announced today, but I mean, with the 6
I
that
don't know.
were from each team, I feel pretty excited about how that's going to look.
Yeah. It drives me crazy. I just think this is dumb. I don't like just give me the whole roster. I don't you're dragging this thing out. This is like the NFL. Remember the NFL and the NFL can do whatever they want to do and people will just flock to it, right?
Oh yeah.
And then at the NFL draft, they had those there was like 2 females that came out and they announced the date of the schedule release.
Yep.
And I'm like, this could have been an email. Like I don't need the people coming out at the draft telling me the date of but worked like a charm because it's the NFL. They can do whatever they want to do.
And I think that's
go ahead.
what stuff like this is trying to build off of, is they see that hype, and the only thing is, and this is, I mean, it's just a fact that the NHL is not as big as the NFL. You don't have that same behind it. So this doesn't work. I don't think it works as well for people, but I still think that's what they're going for, is that we want the hype.
Yeah, because we got, you had for Team Canada, you had Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar as 2 of the 6. You had Martin Nashis for Team Czechia. And who was your last guy? I'm scrolling through.
It's crazy. I think he was. The captain.
Yeah, Gabriel Landeskog, people, as for Team Sweden. That in itself is just amazing to me because here we are talking about 3 years of just coming back just to play for the Avalanche.
Yep.
And he only played those few games. And he's saying, all right, I'm feeling good for not only for next year, but to represent my team in the Olympics, or represent my country in the Olympics. Like that one was just like, wow. Like he is feeling fully back, if you ask me. That was great.
Well, and when I saw that announced, I was scrolling through Twitter, sipping my coffee before I had to go into my day job, and like I see his face pop up, and I posted it right then, and I stand by it. It feels like right. This is how hockey is supposed to feel, which is so cool to see Landeskog back on it. And to your point about being out for 3 years and coming back, we weren't really sure how's it going to happen, what's going to happen. He's not only saying I'm ready for a full season, but he's saying I don't need the break that I could have easily taken here in the middle of the season to make sure I stay. He says he's good to go.
Great point. Yeah, because a lot of guys, especially when they get into like mid-30s, look forward to that all-star break, which is just a little while. To have a 2.5 week break mid-season after you're missed 3 years and getting into a season, like playing day in and day out, he might be like circling those weeks off.
Yeah.
To just, hey, let me just reassess now. Nope. He's jumping right into it for an Olympics, which is huge.
Yeah.
That is huge.
No, he's saying he's going full steam ahead. There is no slowing down the Gabe Landeskog train. So
good for him. And this is why I'm saying like I can't stand this like 6 guy thing, because like I want to know, like Arturi Lehkonen was not one of the 6 guys for Finland.
Yep.
You're pretty confident he's going to make it. I just want to know that he's going to make it.
Right.
Brock Nelson, not one of the 6 guys for Team USA, should make that team. I just want to, so that could be 6 guys right there. Same thing with Devon Toews.
Yeah,
probably
Toews.
be on Team Canada. That's 7. I just want the total number of Avalanche players so I can go brag about this to everybody that
Right.
we have more guys than probably any other team representing all of these different countries.
Yeah, and there's a very good chance that we will finish with more representation than a lot of teams.
Let me see here. Because I'm trying to think if there's anybody that I'm leaving out here. So yeah, obviously you got MacKinnon, Nashis, Makar, Lehkonen. Well, Russia's not playing, right?
Nope.
So because Nichushkin probably would make that.
Oh, he'd be on that team for sure.
He'd be on that team. Anybody else? I'm trying to just go through the roster here quickly, but I don't know if there's anybody else. Probably not. No. Or maybe Mackenzie Blackwood.
Oh, I could see Blackwood
And I think that was one rub on Team Canada for the Four Nations. And Jordan Binnington, as much as I hate to say this out loud, like he played very well for them in the Four Nations. He probably earned his spot on the Olympic team for how he played with the Four Nations. Who the backups are, I don't know. It could be Blackwood.
Yeah.
So
I think that could absolutely be. He could absolutely be an option on that.
You could have 8 Avalanche players representing different countries.
Yep.
That's not bad.
Crazy. That's awesome.
So I'm trying to think if there's anybody. Oh, it's funny on team Italy. There was a it's just said because they have like the last names in like bold letters.
Yeah.
It just said Larkin. And I'm like, I think Dylan Larkin is Italian, but it's not Dylan Larkin.
Nope, it's not Dylan Larkin.
No, that one threw me for a little bit of a loop. But yeah, I'm trying to think. No, yeah, go ahead.
And I just want to take a minute with the Canada 6 that were released.
Yep. Okay.
On paper, that should win the whole Olympics on paper right there.
Unreal.
Like McDavid, Crosby, MacKinnon, Makar, Reinhart, and Point. I think is Reinhart the only one on that 6 that hasn't won a Stanley Cup? Or no, Reinhart has one because he's with Florida, right? Or am I mistaking him for someone? Yeah.
So
McDavid's the only one that hasn't won and is in the finals for the second year in a row. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
That team is going to be stacked. That's going to be a tough one to beat.
It's going to be a tough one. And that's the difference. Like, so Toews was one of the 6 for the Four Nations.
Yeah.
He was one of the 6, and that's who Reinhart replaced.
Yep.
Reinhart was not one of the 6 announced for the Four Nations. So they swapped him and Toews. Still pretty confident Devon Toews is going to be on that team, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, unless he decides not to play, I think he's on that team.
If guys were not declining the Four Nations,
they're
can't
not
imagine
declining this. No,
they're not declining the Olympics. They're not at all.
Yeah.
And then for Team USA, you had both the Kachuk brothers, Matthews, Eichel, Hughes, Quinn Hughes, and Charlie McAvoy were the 6 there. So
it's another pretty stacked on paper.
Great one, but for me, like which one is there one that jumps out to you that's missing on that one for your 6
on Team USA?
Yeah, because there is for me.
Yeah,
he just won the Vezina and the Hart.
Yeah,
where's Connor Hellebuck on there? Come on, guys.
But did they put a goalie on any of them?
Yes,
they did.
There is.
Denmark has Anderson.
There is. The Denmark has Anderson.
Dostal.
Grubauer's on Team Germany. Dostal's on it. Yeah, where's he?
He's on Team Czechia. Grubauer is on Team Germany.
Yep.
You say Saros is on Finland.
Okay, yeah. So there's a few goalies on there.
Jeez, and Latvia has Elvis Merzlikins and Silovs. I don't know how you say his name.
Silvos.
Silvos.
I think it's Silvos. Silov.
Yeah, I'm not good at pronouncing some names.
Yeah, they can be tongue twisters. So they have 2 of them on there.
Yeah, they have 2 for Latvia. So Yeah, I mean,
how do you not put Connor Hellebuck as
I
one of your
agree.
top 6 guys? He just won the Vezina in the Heart. Come on, people. Let's
well,
get with it.
yeah, I mean that really should
Rough.
be. Yep.
Rough, but overall, and you know what? To your point earlier, I think just getting this in the summer,
Yeah.
just getting something probably just it does get the excitement going for the Olympics.
Oh yeah.
But I just worry, like, is the rest of the roster just gonna be like, oh, here it is? Like, I want some announcement
Yeah.
for that too. Those guys deserve to have like some announcement as well. I just feel
Yeah.
like they're not gonna get it, but
Yeah, maybe they won't get as much fanfare as something like this does, but
no.
I think it'll be. I am interested to see what the rest of the rosters fill out to be.
I just can't wait for it. It's Olympic hockey is just so good, and we haven't had NHL level for so long.
Yeah.
If
Was the
nothing
last
else,
one 2014?
I think so. Yeah, I think they were saying like 10. It's gonna be over 10 years now because
Yeah,
it
it'll be
was
12.
10 years ago. I think at 2022. So I think it was 2012 the last time it was, if I'm not mistaken.
Because I thought 2014 was when
Was it or then 2014? Whatever. Yeah.
because that was the shootout. Who and I'm blanking on the guy's name. TJ
The
Oshie.
the
TJ
Oshie one where
Oshie shootout just championed
Yeah.
that to win that game.
that was 14.
Yeah, because
Then
that
was the last one.
Yep. So
Yep.
it's going to be so exciting to watch that come back. And after the Four Nations this season,
Huge.
I mean, there's no way that guys aren't going to get pumped, and they're going to be ready for that, and it's
Yep.
going to be good hockey.
Cannot wait. So throw out in the comments anything that you guys are thinking about, who else is going to fill out these rosters or anything else on your mind for what we talked about today. So we're going to wrap it up there. So Zach, thank you for filling in for Kyle today. I don't know if you're going to have to do it tomorrow if you're available. I don't know how he's going to be feeling. I think this was a 24-hour thing for Kyle. At least I hope so.
Yeah.
So we'll see. So either way, I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully with Kyle, and anything going on in Avs Nation, we will be discussing that. So once again, Zach, thank you for tuning in or
Absolutely
filling in. Really appreciate that.
Happy to anytime.
All right. So that's going to wrap it up for today, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, making it your first listen of the day. That it's always appreciated. For Mr. Zach Pearson, I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Zach, you made it through 24 hours where Sidney Crosby is that much closer to being with the Colorado Avalanche. Good for you, man.